Welcome back to the Locked and Loaded podcast. This is episode 2, and today we have a very special guest. I am joined by my mother, Carmen Locke.
Hey, everybody.
How are you today, Mom?
I'm good. I'm honored that you asked me to be on here.
Yeah, I'm very pleased to have you on this, and as somebody who has helped me throughout my journey in life and really raised me to be the person I am today, it is grateful that you can share your stories and kind of how we grew up and how you raised me.
Awesome.
Yeah, so starting off today, we have a lot planned, but as we do on the Locked and Loaded podcast, we're going to start things off with some sports talk. And today is a very crucial day in the NHL action. It is Game 6 of the Toronto Maple Leafs versus the Florida Panthers. And Mom, as a very big Leafs fan, I kind of want to get your take on how you think tonight's game is going to go, if it's going to go to Game 7. Like, what are your thoughts here?
Well, let's just say being a Leaf fan is never easy. We all know that. The last game was really hard to watch, but I didn't turn it off.
You believe.
I do believe. I'm a diehard Leaf fan, and, I didn't think they would pull it out, but I couldn't give up on them. So I have high hopes for tonight's game, Game 6. I think you're going to see a whole different squad coming out there, and let's just say they better bring it, because all of Ontario is counting on them.
If you had to pick, who do you think is going to get on the board for the Leafs tonight?
I got to say my boy, Domi. I have high hopes.
Every game you say that.
I love my Dome. I cheer him on. Partially because I loved his dad, Ty Domi. I've been a Leaf fan for many years. I remember as a kid, back before there were all the different sports channels, there was Hockey Night in Canada on CBC that I would watch with my dad, and that's how I became a Leaf fan. And so, I've believed for a long, long time. It'd be nice to see a Stanley Cup in my lifetime, though.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll ever see one, but for me, I'm kind of I'm cheering for the Panthers. I'm not too big on the Leafs. They kind of ruined my childhood, and it's easier to not have to feel the pain and cheer against them rather than with them.
Let's just say it's not fun right now watching the playoffs with Brady, because it's bad enough that we're playing against Brad Marchand, which just gets under my skin. But then when your son, who you've raised, is cheering against the Leafs, it's like a stab in my heart. So I don't know. Tonight might get a little bit rough in our house.
Hopefully 6-0 again.
No.
Yeah, so I know we, as a family, we did NHL brackets. Who did you pick to win the Cup? Was it the Leafs?
I think it was. I just felt like this is their year. They've looked really good. Although, I don't know. They're so up and down,
Yeah, the past couple games, but
yeah,
you never know.
You never know. I believe I'm holding out this great hope that our team is going to do it for us. So, like I always say never. Never stop believing, and things can happen.
Yeah, so I know to kind of break off of that, you're not as big of an NBA fan, but you did fill out a family and NBA bracket as well.
I did.
I believe you did pick the Milwaukee Bucks to win the championship.
I did, and sadly they're already out.
Yeah, they did lose in the first round.
Yeah, I'm not a huge I love basketball.
Yeah.
I love the Raptors, so they weren't there for me to choose.
Yeah.
So
what made you pick the Bucks? Was it
I
the
don't know.
logo? Was it the
No,
colors?
I'm not that type of sports fan. No, I enjoy them because I know a little bit more about them.
Gotcha.
Like, you know a lot more about the NBA than I do, but I do enjoy watching it. So it was fun to fill out a bracket.
Yeah, no, that's very good. Other than that, I mean, I know you don't know too much about sports, so I'll kind of educate you a little bit. We're now into the deep second round of the NBA playoffs. On Sunday, there will be a Game 7 between the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Denver Nuggets, which will be very interesting.
And who do you think's going to win that one?
Well, the Thunder were the top seed in the West, so I think they will hopefully win. They'll be at home again, but that's a great series, and the Thunder have been favored every game, but somehow the Nuggets keep winning. But other than that, in the Eastern Conference, the Celtics, the defending champions, if you knew that.
Yes. I did know that. I do know a little bit about sports.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
I give you credit where credit's due.
Especially, raising you. I always, between you and your dad, it's like sports are always on. So, I pick things up here and there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Celtics are kind of on the brink. Well, they are on the brink. So it'll be interesting to see. I'll probably be a new champion this year, which will be good for the NBA. But yeah, those are the two big things going on right now. Just trying to educate you with the other guests. But other than that, there's a little bit of golf, but nothing too crazy. So let's kind of move forward there. I asked this on my last episode, have you ever played sports previously in your time? Maybe as a kid, or maybe...
I did play sports as a kid.
Yeah.
Let's say early on, I think we played soccer and t-ball. That didn't last too long because my mom broke her leg, so we didn't have a way to get to the field. But then I always wanted to play hockey. But back then in my day, there wasn't a lot of girls playing hockey. So my brother played, and I just helped with the team. And then at school...
So you broke the barrier, though.
Oh.
For women, you were a trailblazer for women's sports.
I wouldn't go that far, but I went to every game, and I loved it. Loved every minute of it. Hockey has always been my first love of sports. And then I played floor hockey in school and basketball because I was tall, so I played basketball.
Yeah.
And I've always just loved watching sports. Right? Oh, and then shot put. That was my game. I was
go.
the shot put. Yeah, I loved that.
I see the strength.
Yeah. But that was kind of my my experience in the sports world. Yeah.
So would you say maybe... did that kind of inspire you to, what made you get me into sports? You guys kind of gave me that push. Well, I was 3. I couldn't make that decision myself.
No, I don't think I would call it a push. I think it's important for kids to play sports because it really helps them learn how to be part of a team. And then it's important to try different sports to see which ones you really enjoy, which ones you're good at. And both your dad and I loved watching you play sports because... we like to be a little competitive and we like to meet new people, and shout out to all my sports moms. We had a really tight-knit group that loved cheering you on at tournaments and school sports. So sports are just fun, right? You never know how things are going to end.
Exactly.
And it gives you something to look forward to in the week.
Yeah, 100%. That's something that I love looking forward to if I have a game later in the week. Or for me, I just always need something to get my competitive edge out, and I've always had that. So it's good for me to have that, and that's...
And aren't you happy that you tried sports from a young age?
Of course. I'm very glad, because you could have put me into, piano, and I'd have a whole completely different life.
Isn't that something? You never know. Everything in your life, kind of determines which path you go. Yeah. And, when you were 3, you started hockey. Could only skate with one leg.
Yep, I remember that.
You push with the one leg, and it was fun to watch. But you had some really great coaches that helped you.
100%.
Yeah, and that's something else that helps mold kids, I think, is the coaches that you have when you try different sports. So that's important for kids.
Yeah, so I guess that kind of covers the majority of our sports talk here. Now let's let the audience know and just a little bit more about yourself. Kind of how has your life been? What's your life story? I'll say it that's a very broad term.
That is a broad term.
But take that as you may and just kind of introduce yourself a little bit.
Let's see. I grew up on a farm, so I'm a farm girl. Born and raised in Norfolk, and I do like to travel though. So I went to college in London. Then I lived in New Brunswick for a while. Did a co-op there. Lived in Alberta for a short period of time, and then came back to Ontario. And as far as life experiences, I owned an internet cafe, which might sound weird to some of you, but that was back in the day when the internet was just getting started. And so we had a cafe in the front, and then in the back we had some computer stations set up. People could come in and use the internet, and we had little webcams so they could talk to their kids that are away at school or things like that. So that was an awesome experience. And then I took hotel restaurant at college, so I've worked in a number of different restaurants, hotels, and then I was blessed enough to become a mom of twins. So if you don't know, Brady is a twin. He has a twin sister, Grace.
I do.
Yes.
Stay tuned for her.
Oh, Grace is going to make an appearance. That'll be fun.
Eventually, yes.
Eventually. Awesome. So, yeah. And being a mom has been like the best thing ever. So that has been a big part of my life. And yeah.
I love that.
My joys.
Aw.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, growing up, you grew up here a majority of your life, right down the street, correct?
Yeah. My mom and dad still live on the family farm. So basically, it's like a 3-minute drive from our house to theirs. Mm-hmm. And it was, a different time growing up. Yeah. We didn't have social media. We didn't have the internet. So we were basically helping out on the farm. And when we weren't doing farm work, we were riding our bikes down the road to hang out with the other kids and just have like good old plain fun, camping out in the backyard.
Yeah.
And going fishing in the irrigation pond, all kinds of like simple joys that sadly I don't think kids get to experience too much nowadays.
Yeah.
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 But that was a different time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad I grew up in that era. I think
is that what made you want to settle down with and raise your kids here?
For sure. I think Norfolk County is a great place to raise kids and gives them a good, base to life. Yeah. And then they can travel and then find out where they want to go. Like, it was awesome that you chose to go to Toronto and experience the city. Proud TMU mom right here. Brady, of course, had to get me this, and I wear it proudly because so proud of you for your course. And look at you, sports media.
Well, that's the thing. I wouldn't be here without you and your support.
Yeah.
And Dad, it's just having a great support system that gave me the confidence to be able to do something like that and follow my passions and my dreams.
Well, that's awesome to hear because I think that's the biggest thing. You have to have somebody in your corner that believes in you and is like, you can do it, because life is not easy, that's for sure. And there will be struggles, and it's important to surround yourself with people that are going to be there to cheer you on no matter what.
Yeah.
So, and I'm so grateful that I had the parents that supported me and instilled that hard work ethic, because that's another great skill to have, right? So growing up on the farm, you had to work. And I was sharing with Brady earlier today, actually, about saving money for my first car, because my parents strongly believed that you had to work hard to get what you wanted. You weren't just going to be given the things in life, because then you value them more often. Mm-hmm. And that makes you realize that you worked hard. So when I got that Mustang, I was so proud to drive it, because I knew that I saved all my pennies to get that car. So...
Mm-hmm. And I think the value of money, if you put your own money into something, this is what I was saying earlier, if you put your own money into something, it gives you more motivation because you worked hard for that money, so you want to make good use out of it, and you don't just want to see it whittle away. Whereas if it was just given to you, yeah, you could still have really good motivation for that, but if you put in the work, the blood, sweat, and tears, then it makes it more worth it, in my opinion.
And I'm proud to hear you say that, because it's not always easy, especially, going to school in Toronto. You have a lot of people that are there that maybe are a little more well off. And so I think you can see the differences as you grow up, and people that have a strong work ethic and those that work hard for what they have. I think you value what you have in life. Mm-hmm. So proud to hear you say that. That's awesome. Mm-hmm. See, that makes me feel good as a mom. I'm doing my job.
You definitely did.
Yes.
What is we'll get a little deeper. What is one of your biggest struggles? Again, it's right off the top of your head here, but any big struggles come to mind that you faced that you've kind of had to overcome, and how did you do that?
Well, the most recent struggle that I've had to overcome was the company that I worked for the last 19 years and put my heart and sweat and tears and joy and worked every day for, went bankrupt at the end of January without any notice. So that was a huge struggle, and didn't know what I was going to do. I started working with them when I was on maternity leave with you and Grace, because I didn't want to go back to my regular job because I wanted to be at home to raise you guys. So I was I'm very grateful that I was able to work for that company for that length of time, because I was at home to raise you guys.
Yeah.
And be part of the school trips and
Yeah.
parent council and cheering you on at all the tournaments and the sports. But yeah, that was definitely a plot twist. Didn't see that one coming in January, and so had to make a decision as to what I was going to do. And after 19 years of being at home, I decided, now that you guys are older, that I was going to go back to a 9-to-5 job.
Yeah.
And in the workforce, which, let me tell you, that was a big...
I love that for you.
It was hard. Definitely hard for everyone here, because they've always relied on me being at home.
Yeah.
And it was good, though. It proved to me that even though I'm older, I can still learn new things.
And you're very good at learning new things.
Yeah, you have to keep an open mind.
Yeah.
Right? Like, my goodness, 19 years ago, when I worked in the office, things were so different than they are now, right? So many different programs on the computer and advances. And so it's been a huge learning curve for me, but I've enjoyed learning new things. I've always said, if you stop learning, you stop growing.
Yeah.
And so I think it's good for my mind to be out there and learning new things. And yeah, you never know where life is going to take you. So
No. It's never one path.
it's never one path. It's never a straight line.
Never how you think.
And I know it's hard sometimes, but I do believe things happen for a reason.
It's the beauty of it.
Yeah. So it's been an interesting year. We'll see.
That's for sure.
What else happened?
That's for sure.
Yeah.
I think we've all grown this past year.
I think so too. You definitely
Big
have
year for all of
matured.
us. Yeah.
Being away at school.
It's done wonders for me, I think.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Proud of you.
Yeah.
Year 1 under your belt.
Year 1 under my belt, yes. And looking forward to year 2 and whatever the future has in store.
Awesome.
Yeah, but there's 2 pieces to the next question I have.
Ooh.
First piece, because these are 2 different times in your life. The first time is, let's say, when you were around my age or growing up. What was a big motivator for you? What was something so that these people that are kind of my age or around there can get an idea of how does somebody motivate themselves to get to where you are, a very stable and happy person? How can they achieve greatness like you did?
Well, I think it's important that every day you make the most of the day, because life is short. So don't be afraid to try something new and meet new people. When I was 18, I went to New Brunswick for a co-op all by myself, took a 24-hour train ride without a bed in the train.
That's wild.
It was wild. And again, back in a time where there were no cell phones. So I hopped on a train, went to New Brunswick, didn't know a soul, and ended up meeting my best friend of my life. Yeah.
And who was that? Can you shout her out?
I sure can. Shout out to Brandy in Lethbridge, Alberta. And the funniest part of all is this is why you have to keep an open mind in life, because as big as the world is,
Yeah.
the world is actually quite small. And they say there's 6 degrees between everyone, right?
That's
Well, I was in New Brunswick the second day there, and this girl came up and was asking me where I was from, and all of a sudden when she heard I was from Simcoe, she's like, "Oh my goodness, I know a guy from there." And of course you think, "Oh, we're not going to know the same person." But we did.
Wow.
Shout out to Gary, who I went to high school with. And so that was like an instant bond that we had. So that's how I encourage people. I know I always tell the kids this too. Take time to have those conversations, because you'll be surprised who you meet and the common ground that you have. And you never know who that person is going to become in your life.
Yeah. That's 100%. I agree with that.
And when you're young, it's so important to meet different people, and not just your age. People of all different ages and stages, because they can teach you so much, right? Like where I'm working now, I'm working with a girl who's 21, right? Like, and I've learned so much from her, and she's shared that she's learned a lot from me. So I think it's important to really, open yourself up to all different people and see just what life has to offer you.
Lovely. The second part of my question then, now kind of at the stage where you are in your life, what is a big motivator for you still? Is there, like, to motivate you to maybe keep going at your job, or like to get to retirement, to get to, like, what still keeps you going?
What keeps me going is my family, so I want to make sure that I am doing things that's going to help with savings for our kids, to make sure that they start off on a good step forward for their life. I'm trying not to get sappy, because everyone that knows me knows I'm an emotional person. So the kids are a big motivator, and also for myself, I want to be able to, put some money away so that we can retire and enjoy retirement together and watch you guys grow up and start your own families. And also just to keep active, right? So that was a big factor when I decided what was I going to do. When my company went down, I didn't just want to stay at home, because I think it's important to get out there and keep yourself going. And like I said, learning and meeting new people, having new experiences, that'll keep you young, because I don't feel my age. And so I think a lot of that has to do with just laughing every day, trying new things, and having fun.
What do you kind of do in a day to, what are some of your hobbies, extracurriculars? Like, what do you do to relax? What do you do to take your mind off everything else?
I love to cook, of course.
Yes.
And I love to try new recipes, try new foods. I do like driving, like little road trips here and there to experience.
I know that.
I still love sports. So I like watching hockey, of course, and cheering. I mean, you're still playing ball hockey, so I like to watch that. And just, keeping in touch with my friends and family. I think that's really important, to reach out to people, because we're all going through life. And even though people think, oh, that person looks like they have it all together on social media, you never know what people are going through.
100%.
So you should make a point of reaching out. When you haven't heard from someone for a while, that could mean that they need a lifeline, right? And the other thing is, I always try to give someone a compliment, because that little piece of nice advice or a comment might be the best thing that happens to them that day, because you don't know.
I think we should challenge the people watching this to reach out to a friend and just check in with them. One new friend that you haven't talked to in a long time, and just see how they're doing. Just give them a shout and just have a conversation with them. It might make their day, and it might be the difference for them.
And it also makes you feel good.
And it makes you feel good, yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
Especially when you just, hear their voice and you haven't talked to them in so long, and they're like, wow, like, I'm really honored that you took time to talk to me today. And it's like, oh, just let them know you were thinking about them. Exactly. That's all it takes. And the same of, like, even if you don't know the person, if you're out and about somewhere and someone is, giving you good service, or smiled at you, or has a nice haircut, like, it doesn't matter what it is. Take time to give that little compliment. Yeah. Because you never know what's going on in someone else's life. And I think those are little like tidbits that I like to share with people, because life is short. And you could make a difference, and you will make a difference. Like, I have to shout out to Brady and Daniel and Gates. One of the greatest things about having kids is watching the other kids grow up around yours. And we've been fortunate to have a lot of the guys hanging out at our house a lot. And I was so inspired to watch your podcast, the first episode, with the boys. And I mean, I always hear the boys talking about sports talk, but to hear you guys talk about life and the real things that matter, I think that was awesome. That's
what we're kind of trying to do here on the Locked and Loaded podcast. Anybody can have a podcast about sports, but for me, it's more than that. And I've learned people are so much more than one-dimensional, two-dimensional. There's so many layers to a person. So I like to break all that down.
So I want to know, and maybe the viewers do too, what made you start this podcast?
Well, for me, I mean, I am going to school for sport media, so as much as this is for me to find my voice and to potentially find a calling for me, it's also because it's something that I've always wanted to do, and it's something I've always enjoyed. I've always enjoyed just talking to someone, and I'm more of a listener. So as much as I want to talk to you guys and find my voice, I really like to listen to see and hear everybody's different stories because they're so exciting, and I can vicariously live through them, and vicariously they can live through me, and we share our stories, and I find my voice. So it's really just a win-win situation, and I get to enjoy this with you guys and with my guests.
And everyone has a story.
Everybody has a story.
So this is a great platform. You're very lucky that you've learned all these skills.
Yeah, and I've only touched the surface.
Yeah, and I'm excited to hear your guests that are coming on.
I have many guests that I'm looking forward to, so stay tuned.
Ooh, exciting. I hope more of you will share this and tune in because I had a little sneak peek today of his guest lineup, and it looks really exciting.
It does.
Yes.
It does. So, I mean, is there anything else? You kind of almost wrapped it up there for us. But is there any other stories or anything you want to mention? Anything we didn't get to talk to that you want to get off your chest? Well, you have this platform.
Wow. That's like a loaded question.
Yeah.
Locked and loaded. I can't think of anything off, but do you have any great memories we should share with people?
I mean, I'm good. I'm really glad that I could have you here on this podcast because you mean a lot to me, and everything you've done for me, it doesn't go unnoticed. And as much as maybe I don't say I appreciate it enough, I really do appreciate it. And I wouldn't be who I am, and I wouldn't be here today without you. And I just want you to know that.
He's determined to make me cry.
You're going to make me cry.
No. We don't want to get too sappy because,
This is very close to Mother's Day, so I'm glad I could share this moment with you. And before we get too emotional here, let's wrap this up because this was a great episode, and I'm glad that I could have you on here and sharing your stories. So let's end this with a little bit of a Leafs wrap up. Give me your final score prediction for tonight.
Tonight, the Leafs are going into Florida.
Yeah.
Laying it all on the line. They are going to bring it. I wouldn't be sad if Stolarz was in net, but I don't know if we're going to see him or not.
I very much doubt that, but
although
I like your hope.
Wall can do it. We know he can. He's the Wonder Wall. And all they have to do, I think, is get that Brad Marchand out of the front of the net because he just likes to plant himself there and get under everyone's skin, the viewers, the players. So if they can kind of quiet him down and realize that it's all or nothing tonight, I think they're going to go in there. They're going to win tonight. Score prediction, I'm going to say like 3-1 for the Leafs.
I like it.
And then they're going to come back home for Game 7.
Game 7.
And it's going to be the biggest game that we've ever seen.
Do you think it'll be an overtime game?
Oh, I hope not. Although Monday is a holiday, so it could be okay. But overtime is just, you hate to see a series end on overtime.
100%.
Right? Like, from your past, we
had
a lot of overtime killers.
Yeah.
And they sometimes go your way, but a lot of the times they don't. And it's so depressing to lose it all in overtime. So I'm going to really hope, and I know there's Leaf fans out there with me, belief, we got this. As much as Brady doesn't want to see the Leafs, I think deep down inside, he would love to see the Leafs win.
You'll never know.
Never know.
But I guess that wraps it up.
I just want to thank you once again because it's very rare that someone your age would ask their mom to be on a podcast. So I'm honored to see that I've raised a true gentleman like you. And also, Brady has taught me so much and inspired me that I've always wanted to start my own podcast.
There you go. Put in your plug.
I'm going to be starting it soon. Brady's teaching me some tips. So watch for the debut of my podcast coming very, very soon because I am blessed to have a community of friends and family that helped me get through my daily life, and I want to share that with the rest of the world. So, thank you for teaching me.
Of course.
And teaching all of us about a podcast and how to share our stories.
Of course. Well, thank you very much. This has been episode 2 of the Locked and Loaded podcast. Please stay tuned. We have many, many great guests coming soon. And this is it from the two of us on this sort of Mother's Day special. But anyways, you can say go Leafs go if you want. I'm not going to. But this is the Locked and Loaded podcast. And make sure you come back where the chats are loaded and we are always locked. See you later.
That was good.